Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be exploring the law of one, and more specifically, this idea of the paradox of seeking, journey as destination.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
You know this material pretty well, but we're going beyond the basics here today. So, buckle up.
All right.
So the law of one, for those who may need a quick refresher, it's a body of channeled information,
Right.
and it claims to be from a sixth density social memory complex named Ra.
hmm
And it delves into all sorts of fascinating topics. Spiritual evolution, consciousness,
Yeah.
the nature of reality, you name it.
It really does.
And what I find really intriguing is how this information was received. It was through trans-channeling.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, and so for this deep dive, our mission, if you will, is to help you, the listener, understand how seeking itself is part of the journey
Okay.
and how true fulfillment might be found not in reaching some external goal,
Yeah.
but in that inner transformation.
hmm
It's a paradox, for sure.
It,
And this applies not just to those familiar with the law of one, but to any spiritual seeker out there.
absolutely.
So to kick things off, I want to start with a quote from one of the research summaries we have.
Okay.
It says, quote, "The purpose of seeking is not to find something external, but to recognize that everything we seek is already within.
hmm
The illusion is the playing field, but the realization dissolves the need for external searching." End quote.
That's a powerful statement right there.
Isn't it?
It really gets to the heart of this paradox. So many spiritual traditions emphasize this concept of already being whole.
Right.
The divine within
Yeah.
the law of one just frames it in a unique way.
And how do you think that relates to our everyday experiences?
Well, think about it. Have you ever felt like you were chasing something
Oh, yeah.
that was always just out of reach?
A couple of times.
Whether it's a goal, possession, a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We often get caught up in this belief that happiness lies somewhere outside of ourselves.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is, but what if what we're seeking is already present within us?
That's a big what if.
It is a big what if, but it's a question worth exploring.
Yeah.
The law of one suggests that the journey isn't about acquiring something new, but about remembering something we've forgotten.
Remembering what?
Our own inherent wholeness.
That's a profound thought.
It is, and it can be a real game changer when we start to grasp it.
So if we're already whole, then what's the point of seeking at all?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
The law of one points to desire as both the engine driving the illusion and the key to unlocking it.
Hmm.
It's like this quote, "Desire, my friends, is the key to what you receive.
Okay.
If you desire it, you shall receive it." This was the Creator's plan. A plan in which all of his parts would receive exactly what they desire.
Now, wait a minute. If desire is the key, then why don't we always get what we want?
Right.
I mean, I've definitely experienced my fair share of unmet desires.
We all have, and that's the paradox.
Yeah.
On one hand, desire fuels our attachment to this illusion of separation,
Right.
this belief that we're lacking something that needs to be found outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, desire can also be the catalyst for awakening.
So how does that work?
By becoming conscious of our desires, by examining their root, we can start to discern between those that keep us trapped in the illusion and those that propel us towards growth and understanding.
So it's not about suppressing desire, but about understanding it,
Exactly.
about using it as a tool for self-discovery.
You got it.
That's fascinating.
It is, and it's a practice that can be applied to any area of our lives.
Yeah.
Whether we're seeking spiritual enlightenment, material possessions, or fulfilling relationships.
So what you're saying is that the journey of seeking is really about becoming more aware of ourselves,
Exactly.
of our motivations, our desires, our fears.
Yeah, and as we become more self-aware, we begin to see through the illusion of separation.
Okay, but how does that actually happen?
That's where things get even deeper, and that's what we'll explore more in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm ready to keep going when you are.
All right, let's do it.
Great.
Yeah, so we were talking about how becoming more aware of ourselves, like our motivations and desires and fears, can help us see through that illusion of separation.
Right. And I'm curious, how does this inner transformation then connect to this whole idea of service to others, which is, kind of a big deal in the law of one?
Yeah, definitely a central theme, right?
Yeah. So, is there a link between, seeking and serving?
Absolutely. The law of one suggests a deep connection there. As we go deeper into our own seeking, like peeling back those layers of illusion and really connecting with our true nature, our ability to serve others naturally grows.
So it's not just about, doing good deeds,
Yeah.
checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about approaching those actions from a place of deeper understanding and connection.
Exactly. It's aligning our actions with a genuine intention to help others. Not out of obligation or, to boost our ego, but from a real desire to contribute to the well-being of everyone.
Makes sense because, Ra keeps emphasizing that we're all connected, right? Like we're all part of the same universal consciousness.
Exactly.
So when we help others, we're ultimately helping ourselves too.
Precisely.
I've definitely had those times where I tried to force myself to be helpful or giving,
Mm-hmm.
but it just felt like a chore, you know,
Yeah, I get that.
not like a genuine expression from the heart.
That's a common experience. True service flows naturally from a place of inner alignment. It's not about forcing it. That's about letting our actions be guided by compassion and understanding.
It sounds like the law of one is saying that seeking and serving are like two sides of the same coin.
I like that analogy.
As we search for deeper understanding, we naturally become better at helping others in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
And as we help others, our understanding deepens and the journey continues.
It's a beautiful cycle.
Hmm.
Like in Book 3, Session 60, Ra says, quote, entities receive the basic information about the original thought and the means.
Okay.
That is, meditation and service to others, whereby this original thought may be obtained, end quote.
That's really interesting. So Ra is saying that both meditation, which is, the inward practice,
Right.
and service to others, which is outward focused, are both essential for understanding the original thought. That source of creation.
Exactly.
So they're both paths leading to the same ultimate goal.
Right. And both paths require us to let go of attachment to the outcome and just embrace the journey itself.
Yeah.
Whether we're meditating to connect with our inner wisdom or, engaging in acts of service to help others, the real transformation happens in the process, not in achieving some specific goal.
That's tough, though. Detaching from outcomes,
Yeah.
especially in a culture that's so obsessed with achievements and, measuring
It
success.
is a challenge. It's like we're programmed to believe that our worth is tied to what we accomplish.
Yeah.
But the law of one challenges us to shift our focus from external achievements to that inner transformation. It's not about denying our desires or ambitions. It's about understanding that true fulfillment comes from the growth and evolution we experience along the way.
It makes you wonder how we can reconcile this idea of personal growth with the concept of unity.
Mm.
This is another big theme in the law of one.
Right.
It seems like there's this tension between the individual journey and the collective experience.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And that tension is actually reflected in the concept of polarity, which is another fundamental principle in the law of one.
Okay, polarity.
Yeah, and that's actually what we'll be exploring more in the next part of our conversation. But for now, I want you to consider this.
Okay.
As you continue on your own journey of seeking, think about how your personal journey can contribute to the well-being of others.
Mm.
How can your unique gifts and talents be used to serve a greater purpose? How can you approach your interactions with the world, from a place of compassion and understanding, even when you're facing challenges or differences?
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. How my personal seeking connects to like this big picture of service and unity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's dive into this idea of polarity.
Okay.
Feels like we're getting into some deep cosmic waters here.
Yeah, polarity is a key concept in the law of one for sure. And it's really tied into this whole paradox of seeking.
Okay.
Basically, it suggests that the universe, and our experience in it is built on this fundamental duality.
Okay.
Light and dark, love and fear, service to others, service to self.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this tension between these opposites that fuels our growth and evolution.
But it's not just like good versus evil.
Right.
It's like two fundamental forces that are always interacting.
Exactly. Like that yin and yang symbol,
Yeah.
each force has a bit of the other within it.
Okay, so the law of one says that neither polarity is inherently good or bad.
Right.
They're just different expressions of the same energy.
Accurate. Different ways of experiencing the creator.
I'm still struggling with the idea of service to self being like a valid path.
Mm.
Seems to go against the whole idea of unity and compassion.
I get that. It's easy to see service to self through the lens of our society, where selfishness is seen as negative.
Right.
But the law of one offers a different perspective. It suggests that the service to self path, even though it's a much longer and more complicated route,
Yeah.
ultimately leads back to the creator, too.
So like taking the scenic route
Yeah.
with lots of detours and wrong turns,
Exactly.
while the service to others path is more like a direct flight.
A great analogy. The
Yeah.
point is both paths lead to the same place, reunion with the creator.
Mm-hmm.
But the service to self journey is all about individual gain and separation,
Right.
while service to others emphasizes unity and connection.
That makes me think about all the conflict and suffering in the world.
Mm,
Is that a result of this polarity, these two paths
yeah.
clashing?
Absolutely. That tension plays out on a global scale and also within each of us.
Okay.
We all have the potential to lean towards either polarity,
Right.
to make choices that reflect service to self or service to others.
So it's not about labeling people as good or bad.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all on a journey
Mm-hmm.
and we're all capable of both love and fear, both selfishness and compassion.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we navigate this whole polarity thing?
Well, the Law of One says it's important to develop a strong inner compass, a
Hmm.
sense of discernment that helps us make choices that align with our values.
Okay.
And we develop that discernment through practices like meditation, contemplation, self-reflection.
It's going to strengthen our inner light so we don't get swayed by the darkness.
Exactly. And just as important is cultivating compassion,
Yeah.
even for those who seem to be coming from a place of service to self.
Okay.
Remember, we're all on our own journeys,
Right.
and we don't know the full story behind someone's choices.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
This conversation has really helped me see the paradox of seeking in a new light.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding answers or reaching goals.
Right.
It's about embracing the transformative power of the journey itself.
Exactly. And that transformation happens both within us and in how we interact with the world.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the Law of One.
It has.
We've explored the illusion of separation, the role of desire, the power of catalyst, the importance of service, and all the complexities of polarity.
Hmm.
And it's clear that the Law of One offers a really rich perspective on the human experience.
It does.
And it encourages us to approach our own seeking with curiosity and compassion
Yeah,
and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
exactly. For those who are ready to go even deeper, I encourage you to check out the source material itself.
Yeah, the Law of One is a vast and profound body of work
It really is.
that continues to inspire and challenge seekers everywhere.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Law of One.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
May your own seeking journey be filled with wonder and discovery and the joy of becoming who you truly are.